I know Blue Lock is about soccer or football, but let me start off by taking a quick detour to a sport that is the complete opposite of soccer: basketball. When considering one of the greats of basketball, I think Kobe would be on many people's top 10 list. His legacy, his character, and dedication towards his craft in basketball was something that many people were inspired by. But when you dig deep into his success, Kobe in an interview stated this.
And here I come playing and I don't score 1 point the entire summer.
Really?
Not one.
How old were you?
11, 10, 11.
And you're playing against other 10, 11-year-olds?
Uh-huh.
And you didn't score once?
Not one.
Were you in the game?
I was in the game.
How did you not score?
Because I was terrible.
Really?
Yeah. That
At
happened.
10, 11 years old, you were that
Awful.
terrible.
I mean, and I had these big knee pads on because I was throwing really fast. And I had socks all the way up here, and I had like the high top
Skinny,
fades, like skinny as hell. And I scored not a free throw, nothing, not a lucky shot, not a breakaway layup, 0 points. And I remember crying about it, being upset about it. My father just gave me a hug and said, "Listen, whether you score 0 or score 60, I'm gonna love you no matter what."
Wow.
Now that is the most important thing that you can say to a child. Because from there I was like, okay, that gives me all the confidence in the world to fail. I have the security there. But to hell with that, I'm scoring 60. Let's go.
Right.
This confidence towards failure is a trait that our main character Isagi has thanks to the two loving parents in his life, though they might not know much about soccer to begin with. This trait is important in his development as a character, and why when we think he's out, he never truly is, because he understands his limits better than anyone else. However, another player across the world in Europe, in parallel to Isagi, did not have any of these pillars of love in place. In fact, he grew up in a harsh environment of a deadbeat dad, a mom that left them, and was forced to do crime in order to make a living, all while cherishing and loving the soccer ball that he bought for himself. Kaiser, despite the immense amount of talent that he harbors inside of him, does not have the net of failure. He can only succeed, thus creating the emperor that feared failure. I would like to put in a warning here that I will be talking about some heavy topics as well as deep spoilers about the manga. Please turn away if either of these things are something that might hinder you from finishing this video. While it sucks that I won't get your views, protecting your enjoyment of the manga or protecting your mental health is that much more important. Now, in order to understand Kaiser's character as a whole, we have to go back to the beginning, something that I of course briefly talked about at the very start of the video, but we will now be doing a deep dive of his character. Kaiser is the son of a small-time movie director dad and a movie star mom that left them in order to pursue her own career after she got her big break as an actress. In her leaving, she left a son that resembles her, a blue rose, and a heartbroken dad that turned to alcohol in his depression. And because of the heartbreak, the influence of alcohol, and Kaiser resembling his mother, Kaiser was often the victim of abuse from his father. On top of all his father's failures, because he hasn't directed a movie in so long, they fell into poverty, forcing Kaiser to steal money and food only to fuel more of his alcoholic lifestyle. But despite all of these difficult circumstances, Kaiser found solace in a worn-out soccer ball, an object that he saw himself in, as no matter how hard he hit it, it always bounced back. And bounce back Kaiser always did. Every setback his father had for him, Kaiser would take it, but he always believed that he would bounce back, all while harboring a hope that one day he would be loved by many. But upon being framed as an accomplice for a jewelry store having their stuff stolen and a secret stash of money being found, Kaiser was once again okay with this situation until his father was about to rip open his ball, thinking he also hid money in there as well. Kaiser, handcuffed, attacks his father almost instinctively, since this was his piece. His soccer ball was a safe haven, and his dad had threatened to destroy it. Because of the assault and the stolen money, Kaiser is sent to prison where he was supposed to rot, but PIFA agent Ray Dark sees his talent and, quote, saves this talent. This dark backstory explains Kaiser's talent and how he's developed the skills that he has. He has metavision because he had to be extremely aware of his surroundings during his time as a thief trying to make ends meet. It's why he had to strangle himself and put himself through the trauma of his father all over again when thinking of a way to beat Isagi. and the constant kicks against the wall during his time alone as a kid, fueled by his anger, is how the Kaiser impact came to be, but most importantly, it's why Kaiser ends up being such a bully to Isagi when they first meet, because otherwise, he'll feel worthless. In Screenrants' words, in summary to chapter 260, overall, Kaiser's backstory perfectly explains his antagonistic nature without trying to justify it. But perhaps it's a bit more tragic on deeper glances at the character when considering the belief he has in the blue rose. It's a gift that his mother had left behind, and its meaning in nature is that it's an impossible color for a rose to have, hence his belief that he can do the impossible. And perhaps it's even more cruel when considering the name that his mother had given him, Michael Kaiser, which can be translated to God's chosen emperor. He has all these beliefs in his mind, has all this talent great enough to be named one of the new generation World 11, but he's chained and held back by the traumas of his past. His ego is fragile, and any setback that he has is deemed a failure, something that he can't afford. This is best summarized in the words of user Meledesco analyzing Kaiser. Kaiser never had this. He doesn't understand what it's like to be safe. So his drive is entirely about oppressing and humiliating others so they don't get one above him. He's hyper-vigilant, which eats away at him. I've seen so many quote geniuses who were eaten up by stress and trauma. Unfortunately, this leads to burnout. Success is mostly about being consistent and getting up elegantly after you fail. People with tough backgrounds often burn out faster due to the objectively more difficult circumstances they are under. There is no support system for them. They're dealing with way more baggage. This fear of failure does make someone push themselves much harder, but in cases of people like Kaiser, it inhibits them from thinking clearly as their trauma just rules their lives. Kaiser spends more time being afraid and angry than thinking about doing better. The same could not be said for Isagi. Kaiser is effectively running the same race as Isagi while carrying more weight. Which is why his ego death had to have happened. Kaiser needed to fail in order to grow. He needed to face his fears in order to become a better player, especially as a striker that complements Noah's style of rational play, as he's the one that believes in the impossible with his irrational plays. This was, of course, Noah's vision for the team from the very start. Isagi, with his metavision, is looking for the most optimal rational plays, a kind of stand-in for Noah himself. And like I had said, Kaiser tends to work in the rational player's blind spots because of his beliefs, expanding the BM team's options, something that I think leaving the Neo-Egoist League will only benefit the actual Bastard Munchen team going forward. The chapter where they talk about how once Isagi and Kaiser link up, they can be the deadliest striker combo in the world was honestly no joke. So Isagi telling Kaiser that he will be the Naked King was almost prophetic in the sense that yes, he'll lose everything, but upon losing everything will be reborn as a better player. As soon as Kaiser dropped his obsession with Isagi, much like how the story is setting up for him to drop his obsession of leaving Noah's shadow, the team play and dynamic of the BM team only got better. The constant battle for the two to be the quote one of their team only made options more vast. So Kaiser, while I understand might not be a fan favorite character due to his treatment towards our main character, is a fascinating character that Kaneshiro, the author of Blue Lock, has carefully crafted. From the worn out ball in the cover spread, the glass chains representing his fragile ego, and even choking himself to find inspiration were all foreshadowing events that happened in his childhood and how they shaped the player that he was before the NEL. So, as we finish off the PXG match, it has me excited to see what further chemical reactions that Isagi and Kaiser can create. This has been JaeAIK, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.